It's already time, and we've also formed a quorum. We just made it. We've only got 9 members on the list. Here we have to elect a chairman in the first place. Miss Alice Mack, I would like to nominate Tommy Cheung. I accept the nomination. Stephen Ho, you are the seconder. Miss Sid Ho, please come forward to chair the meeting. I thought by nominating you, then we can dispense with.
問仲有冇第個啊？係，請問仲有冇第二位議員？
Are there any other nominations, please? No? Then Mr. Tommy Cheung has been elected as the chairman of this Bills Committee, so please come back.
最弊就係要問嗰句啊嘛。唉 ，OK， 我睇呢個都好簡單，我哋唔需要
I think it is a simple one, and so I don't think we need a deputy chairman. Please invite the administration to join us.
PowerPoint 呢個佢哋嘅 PowerPoint 嘅。早晨。
Good morning. I would like to introduce the public officers currently in attendance for this bill. First of all, we have Mr. Christopher Wong, Deputy Secretary for Food and Health, Ms. Hindy Lam, Principal Assistant Secretary for Food and Health, Dr. Thomas Sitch, Assistant Director of the Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department, and Mr. Alan Lai, Senior Government Counsel from the Department of Justice, Dr. Michelle Yeung, Senior Veterinary Officer from the FCD, as well as Ms. Ginny Zhang, AS for Food and Health from the Bureau. I think the administration will give us a briefing about the bill. Mr. Wong, over to you. Right, Mr. Chairman, I'll be brief in talking about the gist of the bill. The bill aims to do the following 2 tasks. First of all, expand and strengthen the membership of the Veterinary Surgeons Board. And second, streamline its complaint handling procedures, thereby enhancing the board's capacity in dealing with complaints and performing its statutory functions. This slide succinctly tells you about the aims of the bill when first introduced. The ordinance first introduced in 1997, regulation of the practice, registration of surgeons, and the disciplinary control. So let me recap once again. The policy objective is to ensure a high standard of veterinary care in Hong Kong. As to the functions of the Veterinary Surgeons Board, they are as follows: development and improvement of professional standards, regulation of ethical standards, and registration of veterinary surgeons. The work has to do with the protection of animal welfare and health, as well as the owners of the animals. Since introduction of the ordinance in 1997, a lot has changed. In particular, the number of registered veterinary surgeons. In 1997, there were about 150. As of now, there are 735. And then as to the communities' expectations, they're getting higher and higher, and the demand is also getting higher and higher as well. So this can be reflected from the number of complaints received. At the beginning, there were about 8 or 10 cases of complaint. Recently, on average, we received 50 complaints per year. While there has been an increase in the number, there has also been an increase in the complexity of the cases as a result of the advances in clinical diagnostic and treatment options. Faced with what we have just outlined, the board did try to cope with the situation, but it was found that without amending the law, there will be a lot of restrictions. That's why we have come here today, so as to amend the bill. Amend the ordinance. One of the ways is to seek a change to the membership of the board, so that both quantitatively and qualitatively they are able to cope with more work. And then I want to mention that the ratio of members could have vets to non-vets. It is currently 2-to-1. When we amend the ordinance, we are going to maintain the ratio because we believe that the ratio is correct. Another change being that currently, as far as the membership is concerned, we have a category called medical and health professionals. We mainly talk about medical doctors and pharmacists. We like to include dentists in this member category. This is mainly because we believe that dentists are sometimes involved in the treatment of animal health problems. Say, for example, their dental problems or problems with their bones. This is the existing membership as well as the proposed membership. No change to the chairman. The chairperson will still be appointed by the administration. Currently, we have got 6 veterinary surgeons being appointed by the administration. This number will be kept to be augmented by another 6 elected registered veterinary surgeons. And thirdly, in relation to the member category of medical and health professionals, instead of just having someone being a medical practitioner or pharmacist, we can also have someone who is a dentist. There will be 1 member from this category. And then fourthly, we have the lay members representing the interests of persons who utilize veterinary services. Currently, there are 2 such members. The member category will be kept. The number will be increased to 5. So under the new composition, the total number of members will be increased from 10 to 19. I just want to say that the ratio of members who are veterinary surgeons to non-veterinary surgeons will remain at 2-to-1. There will be 6 new members who are veterinary surgeons, and they will be elected. We hope that we can encourage greater involvement of the profession in managing its own affairs. Of course, we have considered the similar arrangements for other professional bodies, both in Hong Kong and overseas. As to the electoral procedures, they will be specified in a piece of subsidiary legislation. In other words, once the bill has been enacted, we will draft the election regulation so as to conduct the election. It will be subject to the scrutiny of the electoral. We take this opportunity to add certain provisions so as to clarify under what circumstances can we declare an office vacant in the case of appointed members as well as elected members. Basically, we have made reference to the practice for similar professions. And the second bullet point, we talk about circumstances under which we have to declare a vacancy, like bankruptcy, imprisonment, health problems, or other circumstances rendering the member not fit to be a member performing the duties. We will give you more details when we come to that particular provision. As I have said in the beginning, one of the purposes to amend the ordinance is to streamline the process handling the complaints. The existing practice is that we have got a referral mechanism. This can be done away with so as to allow us to handle the complaints more effectively. The total number of members will be increased from 10 to 19, and then there will be a panel of assessors to be established. They aren't actually members of the board, but the assessors can assist the board in dealing with the complaints. So we hope that at any one time we can set up more committees so as to deal with the disciplinary matters. For this legislative proposal, in the year 2012, we carried out a public consultation with the majority of the respondents indicating their support. In the earlier part of this year, in relation to the major provisions of the bill, we consulted the relevant electoral panel, and we were told that, generally speaking, panel members were in support. I would like to pause here. Chairman will try our best to answer your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. Ms. Alice Mack. Chairman, I think this is about how we can deal with complaints more expeditiously with the establishment or with enactment of the bill, because as a layperson, I understand that there are many complaints against pets and bad treatment for pets, and also abuses in fees and charges. But because there are more cases now, in addition to enlarging the composition of the board and to have a panel of assessors, I'd like to ask whether the administration will boost the administrative support to the board, because it's just like the medical council. Even if they have a lot of board members, they don't have enough administrative support, and many cases have been dragged on for a long time. And now you have a larger board, and then the ratio of members who are vet surgeons to non-vet surgeons will remain at 2 to 1. I'd like to know the rationale for that. Why can't you maintain a ratio of 1 to 1? Why is this bias? Mr. Wong. Yes, Ms. Mack is correct. In the recent few years, we have seen more complaints, and as a result, 2 years ago, in 2010, we already added one senior executive officer and another executive officer to help the administration of the board. In the future, when the new framework is established, we will review whether extra manpower will be added. When necessary, we will act according to our established procedures. Regarding the ratio between vet members and non-vet members, we first have to consider the current setup. Currently, the ratio is 2 to 1, and we believe this ratio is appropriate, looking at the operation of the board. We've also made reference to overseas and local similar setups. For instance, when compared with Australia, the UK, and New Zealand, in most cases, the ratio of vet to non-vet members in similar boards is either 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. The rationale behind this: people who understand the profession well can help help to regulate the profession better. So we believe 2 to 1 is appropriate. The DS said that this ratio of 2 to 1 is appropriate. He told us about examples in other jurisdictions, but can you please explain to us why this ratio is appropriate? Mr. Wong. We've considered the following factors. For instance, the complexity of cases we face. The complaints have not just increased in quantity, but in the nature of complexity as well. To deal with complex cases, it is important that board members have professional understanding. Under the proposal, we've not just boosted the size of the board, we have also added a panel of assessors. And we're more inclined to appoint people from the vet profession to enhance the professional expertise of the board. In the past few years, in dealing with the complaints, we are of the view that the current system is appropriate. I see no good justifications for changing this ratio. Chairman. I think it is understandable that the administration would want more vets in the PIC and IC, but Take the tourism board as an example. They also have a complaints mechanism, but the ratio of trade members or professional members to lay members is always 1-to-1, because they need more than professional views from the industry. Well, in all committee of inquiry, they will have a secretariat, and the secretariat can help them to get professional advice. It is important that you have the perspective from lay members, so I have reservation about this ratio. So I think it is important that you change the ratio to 1-to-1. I understand your analysis. Even the non-vet members are people such as dentists. They are people related to this profession. People may have the impression that the board is too lopsided, but this is really better than the medical council where there is no lay member. So although the number of non-vet members will be increased from 6 to 12, but you have one more dentist and also instead of pharmacists and a medical practitioner, a dentist can also be appointed. So plus 6 plus 6 plus 1 plus the chairman. So it is 19 to 5. 19 from the profession or related professions, and only 5 users. So I think I can appreciate Ms. Alice Mack's question. Ms. Sitho, Chairman, I agree that to regulate a profession and to enhance its standard, we should have lay members in the board. However, the professions are supposed to exercise self-regulation. But you look at this, there are 6 members who are appointed, and the chairperson is also appointed. Users or lay members are also appointed, and members from related professions are also appointed. So this is not really a self-regulation by the profession, but regulation by the administration. And there will be 6 elected members added. According to your PowerPoint presentation, you encourage people to be actively involved. Why do you want to keep that 6 members to be appointed by the SFH? So among your 19 members, only 6 will be elected. All others are appointed. So, in fact, there is the government regulating this profession, not really self-regulation. And if the profession differs from the administration when it comes to some new measures and policies, they have no say. So do you intend to make this profession to be self-regulated? Take the Bar Association as example. I don't think you have appointed members in their council, and of course you don't like it this way because barristers or the Bar Association may argue with you over some points. And what about the social welfare sector? They're saying that there are too many appointed members in their board and not enough elected members. So shouldn't you gradually allow professional boards to or professions to exercise self-regulation by decreasing the number of appointed members? And for the group registered veterinary surgeons, why should there be the same number of appointed and elected members? Mr. Wong? As said in my introduction, it is good that we have members from the profession. They are nominated by their own profession so that they can be encouraged to manage the affairs of their own profession. And for the composition of other similar boards, or autonomy of the profession is one factor, but we have to ensure that there is balanced and fair representation of the profession. Take the medical council as example. There are both nominated and non-nominated members. And for overseas similar setups, we have considered the situation in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, where their setup is similar to ours. They have both appointed and elected members. The ratio is around they have a slightly high number of non-nominated members. In Australia and New Zealand, the ratio is about 2 nominated members to 3 non-nominated members, and New Zealand is 3 to 4. So the number of appointed members in these boards do account for a large proportion of members in the board. So we believe our proposal is a balanced one, which we recommend to the committee. Ms. Ho, I am afraid that the administration might not have told us the full story. So please give us information on Australia, New Zealand, and the whole piece of legislation in these places. Now, there are only 6 elected members, and the remaining 3 members are appointed by the administration. You talk about nominated or non-nominated members, and you talk about all those from the profession or lay members. Well, we are frequently tricked by the administration using such figures. I have considered other professional boards. I think they are moving towards self-regulation and being self-autonomous, and when it comes to complaints and investigation, they have lay members so as to strike a balance. Of course, it is difficult to elect lay members because they may represent the general population, so usually they are appointed by the administration. So there are over 700 registered vets in Hong Kong. I fail to see how they can't elect their own representatives to the board. After all, you appoint your own, the chairperson of the board, and also members from related professions, and also lay members. Or why don't you open up all the registered vet members to elections? All right, we will give members a paper to set in table the situation in other places. Yes, not just the countries you've just mentioned, but all the information you have. And also figures other than those you've just quoted. Right. Because of what you told us about this 3 or 2 or 2 or 4, it's close to 1 to 1. But then I think the number of appointed membership is only 1 or 2 more than elected membership, not really a 2 to 1 ratio. Now it is 13 out of 19 members. What about lay members and consumers, users of pet services? I know it is difficult to elect representatives to the board, but since you have 6 elected vet members already, why can't you elect 12 in total? I think this is the main theme of Mr. Ho's speech.
專業。
Yes, please also give us the composition of membership of other professional bodies in Hong Kong which practice self-regulation. They will be happier because maybe the other professional bodies don't elect among themselves. Well, I think for the Medical Council, we always have our own views concerning the hearings of the Medical Council. Well, I think we want to have lay members balancing the professional members. But what about election among the professional members? They should all be elected. Raymond Chen, if I may get more information. Between the year 2007 and 2011, on average, it took a case. It took 16 months to complete the handling of a complete case. Is it too long or what? What about the previous 5 years, that is from 2002 to 2006? On average, how much time was taken to complete a case? Please give us the comparative figures. And then for the outstanding caseload, please give us the information if you have. And then upon enactment of the bill, I want to know if you have any target time taken to complete a case. Mr. Wong, I haven't got the figures with me, so please bear with us. I will give you the information after the meeting. It doesn't matter. I don't think we are finishing the scrutiny so quickly. You can do so afterwards. For the 16 months processing time, you are not going to change that target. Do you really have a target? Of course, we want to do it ASAP, but then each and every case is different. Do you have any benchmark processing time in mind? Mr. Wong, we haven't got such a detailed target. Overall speaking, we want to do it ASAP, but it depends on the complexity of the case and whether. But sometimes, in some cases, owing to the complex nature of the case, we have to seek expert opinion instead of just relying on the members of the board to handle the case. I want to know whether they have got anything in mind when they drafted the bill. Or was it simply as early as possible? Mr. Wong, yes, members' view is noted. We'll see if we need to have a hard target or rigid target. 16 months is the average figure in the past. For the latest situation, I think it's even worse. So we really have to face the problem. Well, Mr. Wong, I think it is a very simple request. We want to know about it. I don't think Mr. Chen wants you to put up with a to give us a performance pledge. That is, whenever the case receives you, reaches you, you have to finish it in 3 days or 4 days. Each case is different, but then with additional manpower resources and with the amendment of the ordinance. On average, there must be 7 a month. So, how many members are ready to take up the cases, or will there only be 3 all the time? Now, 7 cases per month. Then it means that even the chairperson has to sit on the IC or the PIC every time. So I think you need to go back to the original assessment. That is, what was the department's thinking when they suggested an increase of this number of members. So we don't want you to actually incorporate a particular benchmark, but probably you still have some idea in mind. Raymond Chen, anything to follow up? I just want to get the figures that I've asked for. I'm not saying that you should drive it down to 12 months from 16. But still, we want to know to what extent you foresee the improvement will be like. Because if you can't really improve much, we may want to increase more resources for you. Gary Chen? Sorry, Mr. Wong, you want to supplement? My colleague. Let me respond to the point made by Mr. Raymond Chen. I would like to add some details. I would like to share with you the problems that we face. We have the PIC as well as the IC hearings. As far as the composition is concerned, we say that there must at least be a lay person among the members. If you look at the existing composition, there are only 2 such lay members. In other words, the biggest problem facing us is that if one of the lay persons have already got a full diary, even if the Secretariat can handle a new case, we still have to live with the backlog. And then for the purpose of procedural justice, a member who has taken part in the PIC hearing cannot take part in the following IC. Now, the problem that we face now is that we've only got 2 lay members. In other words, it is imposing a lot of restrictions on us. For the backlog of cases, it isn't so much about the workload. It's a matter of not being able to convene a committee. Now we're going to increase the number of lay members to 5. There will be 1 member from the related professions, so there will be 6 who are non-veterinary surgeons. And we are also proposing the establishment of a panel of assessors. So whenever necessary, if we need to increase the number of members to carry out the hearings, then it would help. That's why we have this proposal to set up a panel of assessors. So the ultimate purpose is to be flexible in handling the cases. We hope to shorten the time needed to wait for a committee to be formed. As Mr. Wong has said, as to how much time has to be spent on a particular case, it depends on the nature of the case. Sometimes even experts from overseas have to be called in to help. But the general direction is, as far as the listing of the cases is concerned, by having more available members to take part in the PIC and IC hearings, we can shorten the time needed. It is mind-boggling to have 2 lay members only. Under current practice, that means that either one of them has to be on the committee. Now there will be 5. Well, on average, they have 8 cases a month. Now, you have to have at least 1 or 2. In other words, you must have 2 per month. So are they willing to do so? Do they have time? So by having 3 additional lay members, will it still be inadequate since you have got such a huge backlog? We received 680 complaints. 80 had to be handled by way of a hearing. So 1 out of 8 has to be dealt with by way of a hearing. Well, As the discussion shows, perhaps you should appoint more members so that you can sort of reduce the time needed. But of course, it's up to you to conceive a solution. Mr. Gary Chen, I think I hold similar views to that put forward by Raymond Chen and other members who spoke. In general, I support the bill because it can streamline the process, and then there will be higher degrees of transparency for the membership. But then I want to comment on the simplified or streamlined process. For a period of time, as indicated in the paper, in the year 1998, there were about 8 complaints, and recently, on average, it's about 50. In recent years, 50 complaints per year. I think whenever there's a complaint, it means that there is something wrong with the medical care, health care for animals. So I want to know, is it because citizens don't know how to complain or what? Or you received a complaint, but then the complaint cannot be established? Now, with the enactment of the bill, I want to know whether you will see a drastic increase in the number of complaints. If it does, what about your logistics support? Is it adequate to back up the work of the committees? And then 16 months will be too long a period of time to have a case being handled. Now, if you can shorten the time needed, it will be good. But are you able to do so? Maybe you won't agree with me that there should be a performance pledge, but at least you have to cut short the average time taken. 16 months will be too long. So are you coming back to the panel? Maybe it will be better if you can finish a case in 12 months instead of 16 months. Mr. Wong, first of all, complaints. Whenever a complaint is received, we handle it seriously. I don't think we would discourage complaints. As to the number of complaints in future, whether it will go up drastically owing to one reason or other, well, of course, if it does happen, we have to redeploy the manpower. And then thirdly, you sort of talked about performance pledge. As I have explained, and as my colleague has explained, with a stronger membership, perhaps we can be surer about the time needed to list a case. For investigation of some reservation, it really depends on the complexity of a particular case. If you come up with a very rigid time limit, it may not be conducive, but we'll still look into the possibility.
Mr. Gary Chen, then do you agree that you will report to the panel in the future, on average, the time taken to complete a case to see whether it can be shortened? And since you're going to add lay members, I'd like to know what members are you thinking of? Will there be representatives of consumers or representatives from animal welfare groups? Mr. Wong. Reporting to the panel on a regular basis, the progress. We are happy to do it no matter whether we have the bill or not. We do have the duty to report to the council. So I'm sure. So can you report to the panel 1 year after the commencement of the bill? Sure. Regarding appointed members, we're going to appoint members representing the interests of persons who utilize vet services. So that would be the basis of our appointment. We will hope to strike a balance using this basis. In the past few years, we have appointed lay members from different backgrounds, and we can provide supplementary information to elaborate. You're talking about the 2 lay members, right? Mr. Gary Chen, any follow-up? No more from me, thank you. Professor Kenneth Chen. Thank you, Chairman. You are going to reform the composition of the board, and you should also seek to enhance the efficiency of the board. In Section 7 of the ordinance, you mention support to the board is very rigid. 1 secretary and 1 legal advisor. Regarding the functions and roles of the board, you've talked about a big, ever-increasing workload and the longer time for investigation or inquiry of a case. So you're going to introduce elected members and increase the number of lay members, and also increase or include members from related professions. But you should also consider the roles and function of your secretariat. If the board is still served by a secretary and a legal advisor, then it is not good enough. I am just using common sense as a lay member to understand this. This is in the original ordinance, but there is nothing in your bill to boost the secretariat support for the board. And also Section 18 is about how you deal with complaints. And I think even for the administrative duties and the work flow, I think you should review the establishment of the secretariat. I think the secretariat is mainly civil servants. After this review, will the Food and Health Bureau do something to boost the capacity of the secretariat, and the functions should be enhanced, and you should make the process more transparent? Yes, the secretariat is mainly manned by civil servants. They are basically staff of the AFCD. We've reviewed the manpower of the secretariat. As I said at the beginning, 2 years ago in 2010, we increased manpower for the secretariat. When necessary, we won't rule the possibility to add further manpower to the secretariat. But then, according to the ordinance, it's very rigid. There should only be 1 secretary and a legal advisor. So I believe there are somebody else in the secretariat to assist the board. With the reform of the board, you told us there would be sufficient secretariat support. What do you mean? Because the FS have asked departments to make savings of 1 to 2% in the coming few years. Because we don't want the functions of the board to be constrained by its administrative capacity. So can you tell us how, after this reform, you can ensure that there is sufficient secretariat capacity to do all the things contained in Section 18? Mr. Lam, we will provide the information as far as possible. But can we have someone from the AFCD to tell us? All right, Mr. Yang, Ms. Yang. The Secretariat of the VSB has got one senior executive officer, which is newly added, and one executive officer 2, and also clerical assistants. And the remaining staff are mainly on a contract basis. There are 10 in total, and there are still vacancies to be filled. And what about the legal advisor? Are not included. How many legal advisors do you have? One. Only one. That may be another bottleneck. So everyone is available, but if there is only one legal advisor, then do you have any mechanism to second or deploy legal advisors from your department? Well, under the law, only one legal advisor is appointed, but for PIC's preliminary investigation committee meetings to consider complaint cases, we employ our own legal advisors because we have to discuss a lot of about the proceedings and procedures. Professor Kenneth Chen, I have no further questions at this moment, but in future meetings, please give us information on how to see whether you need more secretariat support and support of legal advisors with enhancement in the functions of the board and also more transparency. Because if there is only one legal advisor, you cannot really cope. Yes. And please tell us the difference between the current system and the new system when it comes to the workflow. Mr. Palsy, may I seek a clarification? Mr. Ellis Mack referred to the composition of the TIC, Tourism Industry Council. He said that the ratio of members in the trade, the number of trade members and non-trade members was 1-to-1. In fact, it was 17 to 12 more trade members than non-trade members. And I also, to follow up on Ms. Sitho's question, I'd like to know whether you want to make the VSB a self-regulatory one. For professions, in the past, professions were mainly self-regulatory, but I think there is a trend to include more lay members into their board. Take the TIC as an example. We want more non-lay members and also members appointed by the administration. Take the legal profession as an example. The UK has reversed the trend. In the past, such bodies were mainly self-regulatory in the UK, but now they have members nominated by the public. So, while I understand Ms. Sitho's question, I'd like to ask the administration whether you want the veterinary profession to be self-regulatory, or do you want to follow the current trend of allowing more members of the public to be involved in the regulation. Now, in 1997, there were only 150 or so vets in Hong Kong, and then there were 10 members on the board. Now it is 735 vets in Hong Kong, and the board will have 19 members in the future. Mr. Gary Chen asked a question about the kind of or the types of non-lay members appointed. Now, for the current term, can you tell us the background of the lay members, please? And do you have a code for conducting inquiries? I'd like to know whether inquiries are held in public or in camera, or is it up to the complainee? And I'd like to know whether the respondent can have legal representative. Regarding details or operation of the board, I'll invite my colleague to answer later. About our position on whether the board should be self-regulatory or not. I don't think we have considered, we don't intend to be a leader in this regard. We have made reference to similar setup in other jurisdictions. As members are aware, one important function of the board is for registration of veterinary surgeons. I think it is appropriate to have more professional members and lay members in the board. So as far as the VSB is concerned, we will maintain this position. Registration aside, when we talked about handling of complaints, should we have more lay members? And is the proposed ratio here appropriate? We have considered the establishment of similar bodies, and I think Mr. Z is asking us to review this point. Yes, we will consider that. And may I invite the AFCD to tell you about the current operation of the board? Thank you. Let me explain to you why in the U.S., Australia, and New Zealand, they have a similar proportion or ratio when it comes to vet and non-vet members, because most of the complaints are rather professional. Well, different types of animals have different technicalities in radiology and the use of anesthesia, the use of medications, and so forth. For instance, should anesthesia be done by injection or by a gas, and the mode of operation, so on and so forth, they are very different. So the papers are very thick, involving a lot of professional points to judge whether a vet has professional misconduct. I believe it is easier to understand the case when we have more vets in the committee. Sometimes we have expert witness from overseas, for instance, renal experts on cats. And yes, the respondents can have legal representatives.
Dr. Yang, there are two parts to the handling of a complaint case. First of all, when a citizen has got a complaint, we'll open a file when we receive a complaint. For the PIC, well, first of all, when we receive a complaint, we will start to look into the matter. As Dr. Sit has said, use of drugs, surgery, why an animal died or didn't get the condition cured in the course of treatment, then we have to find out about the process. We have to get information from the owner, from the vet, and we have to match the information. If it is a simple case, it will take less time. When it is a complicated case, then we have to go to and fro a number of times, and we have to be cautious, and sometimes we need to send the information to an overseas expert seeking advice. When the information comes back and if we are satisfied that a case can be established, then we'll refer it to a inquiry committee, and then a hearing has to be held. Well, for the animal owner who is the complainant, as well as the veterinary surgeon being complained against, may be legally represented. So it works like a court case. Is it in camera? Can the complainee chooses to have it heard in public? It must be behind closed doors.
喺呢方面，你哋有冇參考過？即係今次可能未必去到。
Well, have you ever considered opening up the hearings so as to enhance the transparency like other professions? Now you have got 16 members who have a legal advisor, etc. But then for other professions, they can choose to open their hearings. I can confirm this point with you later on. I can take up this point with you next time about opening the hearing to the public. Well, just now members would also like to know about the overseas practices, so as well as the local practice for other professions. So please give us information on this point as well. That is whether the hearings are public hearings or not. If members don't mind, can I have another question? You have talked about the reference materials. Did you only look at the case in the USA, Australia, and New Zealand, insofar as the composition of the members are concerned, or whether you would also look at the medical professions as well, like the medical doctors, dentists, and what about other professional bodies? Have you also looked at their case as well, like solicitors, barristers, and even the travel industry? So, have you ever visited the topic, that is, whether in Hong Kong it is still applicable to have self-regulation, or whether it is better to go to another direction? Have you ever given thought to this issue? And then, since the nature of the complaints is usually more medical, more professional, and that's why you want to have more veterinary surgeons being appointed, are you talking about appointment to the board or appointment to the IC? Of course, IC members come from the board members, but then you have said that the ratio has to be kept at 2-1. And then you would also, in appropriate cases, have expert witnesses. So when we talk about self-regulation, we should go beyond the hearings. And I think we should get more members from the consumers, from the lawyers, etc. We may have the former chief executive of the Consumer Council, etc. So I just want to talk about the overall direction for the regulation of the profession rather than on the membership of the IC or the PIC. Mr. Wong, I try to answer the question as to what we have tried to compare. In Hong Kong, we have compared the case of medical council, dental council, which are sort of closer in terms of the nature. For overseas counterparts, basically we've looked at their veterinary profession. We haven't looked at the professions beyond the veterinary surgeons. We have to look at the needs of the profession. We do not actually deliberately want to lead the profession, lead the trend or be a pace setter. So I just want to clarify this point. We have looked at the current practice and what happened in the past, and we believe that the ratio is appropriate. There's no reason for us to think otherwise. So even when we drafted the bill, our proposal is to maintain the ratio. There is only one new element, that is, we're going to have elected members. We believe that it will be conducive in encouraging more involvement, and this can promote the development of the profession. And for the past decade or so, you can see that the profession has undergone rapid development, and at the same time, the public expectations are also rising. So you may as well say that we try to adopt a relatively narrower view. We haven't tried to compare this profession with all other professions. In 1997, the ordinance was introduced. Now we are in the year 2014. We are not asking you to lead the trend. I just want you to be more relevant to the current requirements. Please also give us about the background of the existing members. Have you got it? Yes, we have. Currently, we have got two lay members, one being a university professor, the other being a school principal. Both of them are pet owners, so they sort of represent the service clients. Sit home. I just searched the internet and tried to look at the case of the accountants, 16 members with 14 elected, 2 appointed medical council, Department of Health and the Bureau can altogether appoint 8 members. Others being nominated by the universities, etc., for appointment by the CEO, but that's a formality. So 14 elected among themselves. For social workers, 8 elected, 7 appointed by the administration. So you can see that there is a balance. And then for members coming from the profession, a majority of them are being elected rather than half-half, as in the case of the vets. And then for the profession of veterinary surgeons, probably this cannot be done yet. There is a veterinary surgeon who has the professional expertise but hasn't got any commercial interest. In the case of the medical council, they can ask the 2 universities to nominate members. Then they will have less commercial interest because they don't have their own clinics. Maybe we can appoint the jockey club vets, but then they're talking about larger animals. I haven't seen anybody taking their horse or walking their horse in the street. In this regard, what are you going to do? Of course, you have said that, and there's a Dr. Sit for cats. You have sought the assistance of overseas scholars. What about the input from the overseas experts? Do you have a established mechanism? And so we are talking about balancing in two regards. First, professionals and the service clients on the one hand, and then self-regulation and administrative control. We don't need administrative control. We need more public monitoring. Is the CTU already starting a course for veterinary practice? No, the UGC doesn't agree. So it will be difficult to get university professors because we haven't got them in our universities. Yes, in the case of the Medical Council, you see that we have got Professor Lee Mack. She's a representative from the medical school. In this case, there will be less conflict of interest while she can give her professional advice and expertise. But in Hong Kong, we haven't got this, so you have to rely on overseas support. But can it become something which is regular? Dr. Sit? Thank you, Ms. Ho. For overseas experts, well, all over the world, it is the UK, the US, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, which have got a larger size profession and have a more established regulatory system. They have a list of experts for a particular species. When we need experts, we can work through the UK and the US counterparts. They can give us a list of experts, and then we can invite an expert to help us with the professional judgment. So usually this won't create a problem. They have their own specialties. Say, for example, eye problems of horses, or the joints surgeries, hip joint surgeries for dogs, or the gastro problems of dogs. So we can always invite overseas experts. The AFCD has got a list of names, and we can quickly have access to an expert, and there are experts who have been helping us all the time, and it's easy to get them. Mr. Ho, we have been told about the consultees in the consultation exercise. We've got the Hong Kong Veterinary Association, the China Hong Kong Veterinary Association, Hong Kong Veterinary Nurse Association, as well as all the registered vets who have been consulted. I think we should have a public hearing. Yes, before we wind up the discussion today, I would ask you about this question. Now, for over 10 years, the ordinance hasn't been amended. Now that you are making this proposal, I don't think any member would object. So maybe when we have our next meeting next month, we can make an arrangement. So after getting the proper views, then we can have more detailed information from the vets, from the pet owners, from animal care organizations, and then they can facilitate the scrutiny of the bill.
Or maybe the administration want to amend the bill as well. So I think we should line up the next meeting for public hearings. If there are many deputations, we can spend the whole meeting on that. If the number is small, we can use the rest of the meeting for discussion with the administration. Well, in other jurisdictions, they have more laymen than professional members in meetings or committees for dealing with complaints. And the professional members are there to provide expert support. Because I have done a research on this, and I think the administration can consider adopting this approach for the PIC. Mr. Posey, regarding para 14 of the paper, the circumstances under which panel where an appointment can be withdrawn. I think there can be many reasons. For instance, if a person has passed away, has become bankrupt, has resigned, or due to physical or mental problems, or if it's been has been sentenced to over 3 months of imprisonment. And you also have that. Any other reasons? I'd like to know why you need this omnibus reason. I'd like to know whether member or any members or chairman has been removed from office due to such reasons. Well, currently, because all members are appointed, so we have this provision in the ordinance. For whatever reasons or for reasons that have rendered the person not fit for the office anymore, then we can declare the office vacant. In fact, this has never happened in the past. So we have decided to keep this provision in our review. If after an appointment, something has happened to render a person no longer fit for the office, he can be disqualified, and the office can become vacant. Now, for elected members, you do not have this reason for removing him from office. I thank you for respecting the views of the industry. But why do you have this for appointed members? People may think that it is not fair in the first place, and secondly, there are so many reasons for the person to be removed from office already. So why have you added this all-embracing reason for removing him? People may say that it is a kind of political screening. Well, there may be very special incident causing the public to doubt his credibility or the board as a whole. And if the person chooses not to resign, then we would like to have this power to declare the office vacant when necessary. You can call it a last resort for dealing with unforeseeable circumstances. Of course, I understand that you want to have safety valve here, but why will it just apply to the chairman and also appointed members and not to elected members? Well, if a person is elected, then I think his voters will understand that it is their choice. So we respect the choice of the electors. So it's only under circumstances such as a bankruptcy or imprisonment that an appointed member would have his office declared vacant. So you believe there are other reasons other than those listed here for you to declare an office vacant? He said that this applies to other boards as well, not just to the VSB. If members have no more questions, can I suggest that at 10:45 to 12 a.m. on the 17th of November, are we free here? Are members available? We have 9 members and this BC, we need at least 3 to form a quorum. I'm okay. Mr. Posey, I'm still checking my diary. All right. In December, the Secretariat has chosen the 2nd and the 15th Monday and Tuesday respectively. 8:30 on the 2nd and the 10:45 on the 15th. And then there is a long vacation after that, and I think the meetings that follow, the meetings that follow will be in January. I don't think the bill is very complicated. Will members object with 2 meetings? Well, for the 15th, on the 15th, I have a electrical commission meeting. It's at 10:45. How about the 10th of December, 8:30? It's a Wednesday. Well, what will you rely on Penn Democrats to form a quorum? All right, since this is not really a very urgent bill, we will just confirm the 2nd of December. How about the 17th? 17th of November, okay. It's the hearing. All right, the 17th of November, public hearing, the 2nd of December, 8:30 to 10:30, a Tuesday. We'll only have 1 meeting in December since we cannot find another slot available, okay? Well, the next meeting is for meeting deputations. We don't rule out a discussion with the administration after we have met the deputation. So I have the information papers ready. Thank you very much.